Hi, I'm Natasha Frakes, and you're watching Market 1 Minute. Joining us today is Doug Casey, he's the chairman of Casey Research. Doug, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thanks, Natasha. It is a pleasure to be here.
Let's start talking about Bitcoin. Given the recent volatility we've seen, what do you see Bitcoin as? Is it an investment? Is it a speculation? Is it a currency? Or what is it?
Well, I was given my first Bitcoin in 2013. But the very fact that we're talking about it right now, and we happen to be at a resource investment show, is symptomatic of what's going on in the market. It's very, very bubbly. I mean, the returns on not just Bitcoin, but all these cryptos have been off the charts hundreds of times in the last few years. So I guess I'll say what everybody says. The technology is wonderful, but whether these currencies make it or not, I don't know. I have problems with it as a currency. But I've got to say that because most of the countries in the world use completely worthless fiat currencies that are worth little within them and nothing outside of countries, things like kwaches and pulas, that's where Bitcoin is going to have its real future in third world countries, actually.
Okay, and what's your opinion about investing in some of these new public blockchain companies?
Well, I'm in them. I'm a shareholder of Hive, which I guess is the biggest and probably the best. None of them are cheap right now, but if what could happen does happen, they could go a lot higher. The problem is that here in Vancouver, when anything gets hot, there are dozens, scores, sometimes hundreds of companies that pile into the area, and the management don't know anything about it. So you've got to stick with the quality, or you're likely to ride a rocket, it blows up, and you wind up with nothing. So the only one that I know of that has substance is Hive at this point, but it's not particularly cheap anymore.
Right, and so, I mean, given where we are right now, where do you think, what do you think is going to do better, Bitcoin or gold over the next year?
I think now's the time to be in gold, because all of the resources, gold, silver, copper, all of the commodities, grains, cattle, everything, have been in a bear market since 2011. This has been over 7 years. And with governments printing up trillions of dollars of new currency units every year now, many trillions actually, there will be other bubbles. And I think the next bubble is going to be in the metals and the metal mining stocks. So that's where I'm putting most of my money right now.
So what commodities do you see being strong in 2018? Is it gold or are you looking elsewhere?
All the commodities across the board, especially the agricultural commodities, which is not something that is usually talked about here at this mining show, but it's an area to watch out for. I wrote my first novel 2 years ago called Speculator, which is about the mining business and gold mining stocks and how that all works. So, but the next thing I know you're going to ask me about, because it's the other hot thing, is going to be the cannabis-based pot. And I wrote my second novel about drugs. It's called Drug Lord. And I'm very involved in that area too. Of course, my era, which was the 60s and 70s, everybody that didn't get into computers got into drugs of some description. So it's something I know something about, like mining.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk more about your books? I mean, the second one just came out, right?
It did. What I'm doing is writing a series of novels that is to reform the unjustly besmirched reputations of highly politically incorrect occupations. So our hero goes from being a speculator, everybody hates speculators, to being a drug lord, both legal and illegal drugs, to this year, in August, we're going to come out with the third, which is assassin, which is going to discuss the morality and the effectiveness of political assassinations. So our hero goes from one thing to the other, each more radical than the next. So I wish I had a copy to give you, but I didn't bring one.
Next time. Okay, my last question for you. Because you're known as a contrarian investor, where are you putting your money?
Well, I was in the blockchain space, and I still am. I've been in the cannabis space, and still am. But the place to put new money right now is the junior resource stocks, gold, silver, especially mining issues. Now, of course, you've got the so-called new energy metals, things like lithium and cobalt. I'm more interested in gold and silver at this point because I think we're on the edge of a gigantic monetary crisis. Actually, we've been in a gigantic monetary crisis since 2007. But it's kind of like been the eye of the hurricane now for years. We're going into the trailing edge of the hurricane, and I think there's going to be a panic into the monetary metals again. So to answer your question, that's the place to be, especially now.
Okay, well, it was great talking with you, Doug. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Natasha. My pleasure.